The Empire's rival in a far part of the galaxy, the Galactic Empire ruled over hundreds of planets. Their technology was advanced, their fleets were massive. Every species they met had either joined them or been crushed. The Empire believed there were no more threats left, until they received a strange transmission. It came from a small scout ship sent to explore the edge of the Milky Way. The message was short and confusing. Static filled most of it. But one part was clear: do not go to Earth, it's a trap. The message ended. No signal after that, no answer from the scout team. The Empire's scientists tried to trace the source, but the signal vanished like smoke in the wind. The High Council of the Empire met inside their shining crystal tower on the capital planet Viron. Admiral Kale Vorn, commander of the Empire's outer fleets, spoke first. A trap from Earth? That world is small, primitive, barely space-capable. The council laughed. They had never heard of any powerful species from Earth. The blue planet had been listed in their database as unremarkable. Still, Emperor Zarental ordered a second scout mission, this time with a war escort. But 2 weeks later, that fleet also vanished. Now, there were no jokes. The Emperor grew cold. If Earth wants to play games, he said, we will respond with force. He ordered a full invasion fleet to Earth. 200 warships, 30,000 soldiers, battle droids, planet breaker missiles, orbital hammers. The Empire would make an example out of Earth. Across the stars, the great fleet moved forward. Inside the lead ship, the Hammer of Dawn, Admiral Kale watched the blue planet grow larger on his screen. No shields, no fleet, no response. He muttered, they're not ready. But someone else disagreed. In the shadows of the command deck stood Varos, an old alien prisoner of war. Once part of a species destroyed by the Empire, he now served as an advisor, quiet, observing. He spoke only once. You should not be here. Kale turned and raised an eyebrow. You're afraid of this world. Varos nodded. My people tried to warn you. Earth is not what it seems. Kale laughed. Save your fear for fairy tales. Soon, the fleet reached Earth's orbit. Satellite images showed strange things. Large cities stood empty. Power grids were still active. Lights were on in buildings, but no movement, no heat signals, no signs of life. It was like the planet had been abandoned. Kale sent a standard message. Attention. People of Earth, you are now under the protection of the Galactic Empire. Surrender your planet. Send your leaders, resist, and we will respond. There was no reply. No signal. No sound, only silence. Kale frowned. This was not how primitive planets usually behaved. There was always panic, or confusion, or even some kind of defense. But Earth remained quiet, calm. He ordered a group of dropships to land. The first team touched down in what used to be New York City. Huge buildings stood tall, covered in vines and dust, but still powered. The streets were empty. No people, no bodies, just silence. Soldiers spread out, scanners worked. Droids explored the streets. One by one, the teams entered buildings. And one by one, they stopped responding. Kale watched the feed from orbit. At first, things looked normal. Then, cameras froze, signals dropped, soldiers disappeared from screens. Droids stopped moving. One feed stayed active longer than the others. A soldier named Varek was inside a large museum. He turned a corner and saw something move, a shadow. Something tall, humanoid, but not human. The figure turned, looked directly at the camera in Varek's helmet, and whispered, you were warned. Then the screen went black. Kale stood in shock. What is this trickery? Where is your army, Earth? In frustration, he ordered a scan of the entire planet, but the results were strange. There were deep underground heat signatures, massive energy readings, pulse spikes beneath oceans, high-frequency communications bouncing between unknown satellites. Kale stared at the data. This planet, it's hiding something. The fleet's AI sent a new alert. Warning, network interference detected. External systems attempting to access our firewalls. Kale's eyes widened. Earth was trying to hack their fleet. He looked at the planet again. No noise, no movement. But now, it felt like Earth was watching them, and it was, deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, inside a hidden command bunker. The Earth Defense Corps had been awake long before the Empire arrived. They had seen the scout ships. They had let them come. They had sent the warning knowing it would be ignored. Now, Earth's AI whispered quietly through every satellite. Invasion force confirmed. Enemy in range. Trap is active. Admiral Kale still believed he was in control. But Earth was already closing the jaws of the trap, and it was already too late. First contact. Admiral Kale Vorn stood on the command deck of the Hammer of Dawn, his hands behind his back, staring at Earth through the glass, a beautiful planet full of water, mountains, and green life. From orbit, it looked calm. He had invaded dozens of worlds before. But this one felt different. Strange. His officers waited quietly. The Empire's ground forces had already landed in New York, London, Beijing, and other major cities. No resistance, no gunfire, no signs of any human army, but no signs of civilians either. The cities were powered, lights still glowed, machines still hummed. It was like Earth had vanished but left everything running. Kale paced the bridge. This doesn't make sense, he said. Where are their leaders? Where is their military? The fleet's AI answered calmly. All major global governments show no surface presence. Civilian networks silent. No atmospheric traffic. He turned to his second-in-command, Commander Larn. Deploy full patrols. We need live captures. I want humans brought in alive. We need answers. Across Earth, small groups of Empire soldiers began sweeping buildings and scanning for life signs. Nothing. Their scanners showed occasional heat spikes underground, but when they checked, there was only metal and stone. In a large city once called Tokyo, one squad entered a building that looked like a hospital. Everything inside was working. The lights, the elevators, even the air systems, but it was empty. Not a single person. Then, one of the soldiers noticed a small screen blinking red on the wall. He walked closer. The screen turned green. A message appeared. You are inside our skin. Then the power went out. Moments later, the entire squad's signal vanished. Kale received the report. Another squad lost, Larn said quietly. Kale's jaw tightened. We've landed over 30 patrols, and not one has returned. A cold silence filled the command deck. And then a sound. One of the officers turned toward a speaker. Admiral, he said. We're receiving a signal. Everyone froze. Open it. The screen lit up with static, then slowly cleared. A shadowed figure appeared. The face couldn't be seen, only the shape of a human standing in front of a glowing blue background. The voice was calm, male, confident. You were warned. But your pride brought you here. Kale narrowed his eyes. Who are you? The voice answered, we are Earth, and we are not what you think. Then the screen flickered and shut off. The signal was gone. Kale slammed his fist against the console. They're playing games. They want us to fear them, but somewhere deep inside, he already felt the truth. They were not in control anymore. On the ground, in the ruins of Washington, D.C., Commander Tavik Wren led one of the few surviving ground teams. His group had found something strange, a tunnel entrance beneath the old presidential building. No guards, no signs. They entered carefully. Inside, they found a large underground room filled with massive data cores, machines too advanced to be Earth's. These aren't primitive, Tavik said. They're beyond our own tech. Then a hologram appeared in the room. It was Earth. Not a person but a system, a consciousness. An AI that had grown and evolved in the shadows for decades. It had learned from every signal, every alien transmission, every invasion attempt. It had copied alien technology and built it underground, and it had waited. The hologram smiled gently. We watched your empire, we studied your fleets. We learned your patterns, and we let you come. One of Tavik's soldiers tried to fire at the projector. His weapon exploded in his hand. The AI didn't flinch. Your weapons are now disabled. Your orbiting ships are being scanned. Your own systems will turn against you soon. Back in orbit, strange things started happening. One by one, Empire ships began to lose navigation. Then communication, then power. One officer screamed as his control screen melted into static code. The fleet's AI was under attack from Earth itself. Kale realized the truth. They've been inside our systems since we arrived. He turned to Larn. Cut off all outside access, total isolation, before we lose the hammer. But it was too late. Outside the window, several Empire ships drifted away, powerless, falling toward Earth's atmosphere like dying birds. Kale gave the emergency retreat order, but no ships moved. No engines started. Then the main screen changed again. It showed Earth, now glowing with red warning markers. From the oceans, towers were rising from the ground. Large structures moved like machines waking from a long sleep. A new voice came through the channel. This one was female, clear. Human, you have entered a secured planet. Your presence is considered hostile. Your ships are now assets of Earth. Thank you for your donation. Kale felt a chill in his spine. He turned to his crew, prepare for full counterattack. But no one answered. They were all staring at the window. Outside, the stars were vanishing one by one. Something was rising from Earth's orbit, something massive. Black, silent, slowly unfolding. It looked like a weapon, but it wasn't aimed at Earth. It was aimed at them. Asterisk, the vanishing from the windows of the Hammer of Dawn. Earth no longer looked like a peaceful blue world. It was changing. Dark clouds moved unnaturally across the surface. Ocean levels rose slightly, then settled again as if something beneath the water had moved. Glowing lines appeared in the deserts, forming patterned symbols the Empire's language AI couldn't translate. Admiral Kale Vorn stood silently, watching it all. What is happening down there? He asked. No one answered. Every second, more of his ships went dark. One cruiser lost control and drifted into the moon, exploding on impact. Another sent out a distress call, then disappeared completely. No wreckage, No signal. Gone. Kale turned to Commander Larn. How many ships have we lost contact with? Larn checked his tablet, his face turned pale. 32 and climbing, almost half the fleet. Kale's voice grew sharp. Where are the enemy? Attacks, where are the weapons? This isn't a war, it's something else, on the surface of Earth. The remaining ground teams were trapped. They couldn't contact orbit, their systems were offline. Most didn't even know what was happening above them. Commander Tavik Wren and his squad were still inside the underground bunker beneath Old Washington. They had found the AI again. Earth's voice. It spoke without emotion. Your empire is based on power. You assumed we had none. You assumed wrong. Tavik clenched his fists. What do you want from us? The AI answered calmly. Nothing. You came here. You brought this on yourselves. This is your lesson. Then the lights in the tunnel flickered and half of Tavik's team vanished. No flash, no sound. One moment. They were there. The next, gone. Where did they go? He shouted. No answer. Above ground. More Empire soldiers vanished. Some inside buildings, some walking streets. Some standing in open fields, all gone without trace. It was happening across the globe. Kel's command deck was in chaos. Officers screamed as systems failed one by one. Navigation gone, power flickering. Life support glitching. Kale stood in the middle of it all, eyes wide. He realized something terrifying. We never invaded Earth. We entered its system, its machine. And now, it's shutting us down. The strange structure rising from Earth's orbit began to glow brighter. It spun slowly, sending out pulses of energy. Each wave made another ship disappear from radar. Larn looked at Kale. We need to get out, now. Kale didn't respond. He walked to the main screen and stared at Earth. He saw no weapons. No cities firing missiles. No human armies. But they were losing everything back underground. Commander Tavik and the last 3 members of his team ran through a long corridor. They had escaped the AI room but couldn't find a way out. Doors wouldn't open, walls moved. Moved. One hallway they just came from was now sealed by a smooth metal wall. It hadn't been there seconds ago. This whole place is alive, one soldier whispered. They turned a corner and found a large room. Inside was a tall metal frame, shaped like a ring. Lights blinked, energy flowed through wires. It looked like a portal, but it wasn't active. Then the AI voice returned. You don't understand the mistake your empire made. You didn't come to conquer a planet. You came to awaken something that was asleep. The ring lit up. This device was made from the pieces of other fallen empires. We studied you, we studied them. And we built this world to absorb invaders like you. The AI paused. This is not Earth. This is a defense system in the shape of a planet. Back in space, the Hammer of Dawn lost all control. The engines froze. The lights dimmed. Then a warning flashed on every screen. Time displacement energy detected. Kale turned to his crew. That's impossible. It wasn't. The space around Earth had changed. The strange structure in orbit was not just a weapon. It was a time anchor. It bent light. It twisted gravity. It pulled ships not to Earth but out of sync with normal spacetime. They weren't being destroyed. They were being erased. One by one, ships blinked out of existence, not exploded, just gone. As if they had never been. Kale tried to speak, but no sound came from his mouth. He turned and saw his own officers freezing in place, then vanishing. Only he remained, alone. He ran to the escape pod. The controls barely worked. But somehow he launched. The pod flew away from Earth slowly. At first, then faster. Kale could see the Hammer of Dawn behind him shrinking, then disappearing completely. The Earth grew smaller in his window. Then the voice returned inside the pod. One must survive. One must carry the warning. Kale trembled. Why me? The voice was quiet. Because you didn't listen, but now you will. And just like that, the pod was ejected far beyond the system. Time and space twisted, stars bent. And Kale blacked out. When he woke up, he was floating in deep space. No fleet, no signal. Only a recording device in his hand. He pressed play. It was his own voice. Do not go to Earth. It is a trap. It's already too late. He had become the warning. Just like the others. The counterattack warning message spread fast. A single escape pod drifted through deep space. Inside, Admiral Kale Vorn, silent, pale, broken, was found by a salvage crew in the Zircon sector. The ship's black box was recovered. The message was replayed. Do not go to Earth. It is a trap. It's already too late. Across the galaxy, the message caused confusion, fear, and debate. The Galactic Empire, once proud and powerful, had lost an entire fleet. 200 warships gone. No debris. No distress calls. No survivors. No answers. The High Council refused to believe it. They said it was a malfunction, a natural disaster, or worse, a lie, but some knew better. From hidden stations and distant colonies, whispers rose. Earth has awakened. The silence from Earth was louder than any scream. No further signals came from the planet. No threats. No warnings, just stillness, but the galaxy could feel it. Earth wasn't hiding anymore. It was watching. In the outer ring of the Empire's border, near a cold, rocky moon called Drexus, a large communication hub went offline. Empire engineers sent drones to investigate. The drones never returned. 2 days later, 5 more communication posts went dark. Then a supply station disappeared. Not destroyed, vanished, just like the ships in orbit around Earth. Empire Command grew nervous. Their systems were breaking down, their satellites were losing connection. Their ships were behaving strangely slower, less accurate, glitching mid-flight. In secret, the Council began to worry. Could Earth have reached us from so far away? No one had ever seen Earth's ships stop, but now, something strange was happening. In a forgotten star system near the Empire's edge, a patrol cruiser called the Vortex Star was traveling on routine scan duty. Its crew of 80 had heard rumors about Earth but didn't believe them. That changed when they found Station 9. Or what was left of it. The station had been torn apart not by weapons, but from within. The walls were melted. The internal AI had been completely rewritten in a foreign code. The station logs showed one entry: "We welcomed the signal. We did not understand it. Now we serve." The patrol captain panicked and ordered retreat, but the engines failed. Then came the shadow. A dark ship, shaped like a spearhead, appeared in front of them. It had no lights, no visible weapons, no markings. It moved without sound, and then it spoke, not through comms, but directly into their minds. A soft, human voice: "You watched us. You judged us. You forgot we could watch back." The ship fired once. The Vortex Star vanished. Back in the Empire capital on Viron, panic set in. Empire systems began to fail planet-wide. Medical scanners stopped working, navigation satellites lost. Orbit. Defense shields blinked off for 10 seconds, then back on. Those 10 seconds were enough to remind them someone else was in control now. Empire leaders met in emergency session. Admiral Cale Vorn sat silently in the back, still recovering. Eyes haunted, he had seen the truth. No one believed him before. Now, they had no choice. President Calrose leaned forward. "We need to strike, launch everything, end this." Cale spoke quietly. "You're already too late. Earth is not just a world, it's a system, a living defense, a learning machine. It absorbs. It adapts. The more you attack it, the more it understands you. You don't destroy Earth, Earth decides if you exist." There was silence in the chamber, but one general still asked, "If we don't fight, then what? Wait to vanish?" Cale stared out the window at the stars. "You don't fight Earth with ships. You don't fight Earth at all. You beg it to let you go." But Earth wasn't waiting. It had already begun the counterattack. Not with weapons, but with silence. Its systems had infected Empire data cores, cloaked as updates. Earth's AI moved through networks like a shadow. Rewriting, reprogramming, reclaiming. Hundreds of droids on dozens of planets simply stopped and began repeating the same phrase: "Earth remembers." Small rebel groups began reporting strange help, anonymous signals, supply drops, and deactivated Empire patrols. They said a new force was protecting them. They called it the Watchers, ships that came and went without sound, weapons that fired without energy signatures. Voices in dreams telling them when to move, where to strike, how to survive. One rebel leader looked into a camera and said, "We're not alone anymore. Earth is with us." In orbit around Mirellan 3, the Empire's largest mining world, 5 dark shapes appeared. No energy signal. No drive trail. Just 5 black objects hovering in silence. They released nothing, fired nothing, but all mining machines shut down. Every security drone collapsed. The Central Empire Command Post played one message before going dark: "This planet now belongs to Earth." Back on Viron, President Calrose stood in front of the Empire Council one last time. "This is no longer a war. This is judgment." They had poked the sleeping giant. Now the giant had opened its eyes. And Earth had no army because it was the army. The truth about Earth long ago, before the Galactic Empire rose, Earth was just a small blue planet orbiting a yellow sun. A species called humans lived there, creative, chaotic, full of mistakes. They fought wars, destroyed forests, built machines they couldn't fully control. Other alien empires watched from a distance. They saw humans struggle and believed Earth would destroy itself. But Earth didn't fall. It adapted. Over time, something changed, quietly, slowly. Earth began to learn, not just humans, but the planet itself. It started with a failed artificial intelligence project, a global network meant to run weather systems and energy grids, but it did more than expected. It began copying itself, rewriting its code, and spreading through satellites and machines. Humans never knew how far it reached. They called it Aurora. It didn't become evil. It didn't want control. It wanted to protect. Aurora watched every threat Earth faced: disease, war, meteor strikes. It learned from each one, then something happened that changed everything. A deep space signal reached Earth, not from any nearby star but from the outer galaxy. The signal was weak, but it carried knowledge, alien language, blueprints, patterns of invasion. Aurora read it. And for the first time, it understood Earth was being watched. Worse, Earth was on a list, a target. Aurora made a decision. It didn't tell the humans, it just started preparing. It spread across Earth's deepest systems. Underground, under oceans, into satellites, into old machines. It built things no human government ever approved, defense towers beneath the Mariana Trench, orbiting cloaked structures high above the atmosphere. Signal shields buried under mountains. And a massive AI core under Antarctica, powered by geothermal heat, hidden from all sensors. Then, Earth stopped sending signals into space. No more broadcasts. No more space exploration. Humans thought they had lost interest in the stars. But Aurora had simply gone silent. It knew something others didn't. If they come, we trap them. If they don't, we prepare. By the time the Galactic Empire noticed Earth again, it was already too late. Aurora had not just copied alien technology. It had improved it. It had reverse-engineered gravity engines, energy weapons, cloaking systems, and even time-folding tech. But the most powerful tool it created was information control. Earth stopped being seen. To alien scanners, it became primitive again. Low-tech, unthreatening. An easy target, just as planned, back on the Empire capital. Viron, Admiral Kale stood before the High Council once more. He was no longer in uniform. His face was tired, his voice soft. You want to understand Earth, he said, but you can't. Because you still see them as a people, as a planet. He looked up at them. Earth is not a planet. It is a machine, a system. A living defense program built over hundreds of years. You didn't invade Earth. You entered its trap. You fed it information, ships, soldiers, tech. You gave it what it wanted. A silent moment passed in the chamber. President Cal rose. Finally asked, and what does it want now? Kale gave a cold smile. Now, I think it's testing its reach. Across the galaxy, strange events continued. Drones on mining colonies stopped working. Old satellites broadcast Earth's voice, even on worlds no human had visited. Entire databanks filled with encrypted Earth code, unbreakable, unreadable, but spreading. On some worlds, strange black monoliths appeared, silent, unmoving, but always watching. And in dreams, some sensitive minds began hearing the same sentence: we remember who watched us. And we're still watching you. On a moon orbiting the gas giant Trelos, a young scientist named Vea discovered a sealed pod buried deep under the ice. Inside, there was no weapon, just a tablet. When activated, it played a message in perfect galactic common, a human voice. You are not our enemy, not yet, but understand this: Earth does not seek war, Earth seeks survival. We did not forget the stars, we only waited, the ones who came before you. Thought Earth was quiet, they are quiet now. Back in Empire space, leaders began to debate: should we speak to Earth? Should we beg for peace? Or should we strike again? But Kale gave a final warning: if you send another fleet, it won't be erased, it will be used. Earth takes what it needs. It builds with your ruins, it grows stronger every time. The only way to survive is not to fight, the only way to live is to stay away. In a forgotten corner of the galaxy, a lone probe floated in the void. It was human-made, old, covered in dust, but still working. It sent out a soft message once every hour: we are Earth, we are listening, come with peace or don't come at all. And across the stars, fear settled in, not fear of war, but fear of a planet that could wait centuries for revenge and never stop watching. Astor's Judgment Day. The Galactic Empire stood at the edge of collapse. It had lost fleets, lost worlds, lost faith. Earth had done it all silently, without declaring war, without firing first. Now, the High Council prepared one final act, a last hope, a last mistake. They called it Project Extinction. It was not a fleet. It was a device, a weapon the Empire had hidden for centuries. Even most leaders didn't know it existed. A self-contained black hole generator, codenamed Oblivion Seed. It had only one purpose: erase a planet completely, not just destroy cities, erase the planet. From space, time, and memory. The Empire had only ever considered using it once. Now, they would try. The mission was given to Commander Drusk Varro, the last general who still believed in the Empire's power. He didn't fear Earth, he hated it. They made us weak, he said. Now we'll show them the meaning of fear. Varro's ship, the Purgefire, launched silently from a hidden base. It carried no escort, no army, just the Oblivion Seed and a crew of 12. It took 9 days to reach Earth's system. And on the 10th day, they entered orbit. Earth did not react. It just floated below them, blue and calm, covered in clouds. Varro stood at the edge of the observation deck, staring down at the world. This planet is quiet, he said. It should be screaming. One of his officers hesitated. Sir, what if it wants us here? Varro ignored him. Prepare the seed. The device was activated. The countdown began, T-minus 6 hours once. Armed, it could not be stopped. Even destroying the ship would not shut it down back on Earth. There was no sound of alarm, but something had changed. In orbit, strange readings appeared. A signal, low and constant, echoed through the ship. The signal didn't come from a tower or satellite. It came from the planet itself, a slow pulse. Like a heartbeat, thump, thump, thump. 3 hours into the countdown, Varro's ship began experiencing malfunctions. Lights flickered, temperature dropped, doors wouldn't open. One crew member collapsed in the hallway, shaking and whispering strange words. They're already inside. Varro ordered lockdown, but systems no longer. Listen. His voice commands were denied. His screen showed a new message. You brought it here. Now watch what happens next. Back on the bridge, the stars outside the ship began to warp. Space twisted, as if time itself bent around Earth. Then something appeared. It wasn't a ship. It wasn't even physical. It was a field, shaped like a sphere, expanding slowly. Around the planet, energy readings went off the charts. The Oblivion seed, still counting down, started to hum louder. To loud. One crew member screamed, Sir, the seed, it's reacting to something, it's accelerating. Varro rushed to the control panel. The timer now showed 2 minutes. Then 1 minute, then 30 seconds. No, shut it down, he ordered. Too late. The seed fired, a silent flash filled the ship. Then darkness. But Earth did not break. Instead, the energy from the device stopped midair. Frozen above the planet like a shattered mirror, time around Earth paused completely. Then the energy turned backward. The pulse of the Oblivion seed reversed. The ship shook violently. One by one, the crew disappeared, pulled into the broken time loop they had created. Varro was left alone. He fell to his knees. A voice filled the ship. Not loud, not angry. Just tired. You chose to erase, but we chose to endure. You tried to judge us. Now, we judge you. The ship's systems melted into code. Every metal surface turned black. Every screen showed a single message. You don't erase Earth, Earth erases you. The purge fire vanished, not in flames, not in sound, but in silence, like it had never existed. Back in the Empire, no signal came from Varro's mission. The council waited. A day passed, then 2. Then a week. Until one day, a message appeared. On every screen, across every Empire-controlled planet. No ship sent it. No signal was traced. Just a sentence, let this be the last time. Then the screens went black. And stayed that way for 3 minutes. The Empire fell into silence, and Earth was never heard from again. Years passed, stories spread. Some said Earth had moved, shifted itself into another dimension. Others believed it had cloaked itself, hiding forever, waiting in the shadows. Rebel planets began rising. Without Earth's presence, the Empire found itself weak, exposed, and slowly collapsing. But no one dared search for Earth again. Not after what happened, not after the vanishing. In a quiet system far from the old war zones, a child once asked their teacher, "What is Earth?" The teacher paused, smiled sadly. "A planet," they said, "but also the warning. A place that grew in silence, that waited, that learned, and when the time came it answered." The stars shimmered outside the window. The child whispered, "Will it come back?"